the mastery curve. I know that you're intrigued by the very title, and I promise I will get to it, but I want to prepare you for it and build up to it. And so first I want to talk about closed loops and how they are related to the real stories of our lives and the structure of story. How story itself has a mathematical structure and it's all connected, and I'm going to connect the dots for you. First of all, did you know that studies and experiments have shown that people would rather receive an electric shock than stay in a room all by themselves with nothing at all to do for 15 minutes and just being alone with their own thoughts? When they're in a room with nothing in the room but just this chair and this table and this electric shock instrument, they can't stand it. Most people can't stand it. And at some point, they want some sort of impulse, some sort of stimulation that they go ahead and touch the electric shock instrument. So that's how much we've been programmed to be uncomfortable with ourselves and with our own thoughts. And this is why training in meditation is so important, because it's training in being with ourselves. And this is related to how a lot of script writers include cliffhangers between commercials and also right at the end of their TV series. And the reason is because a cliffhanger creates what's known as an open loop in the brain, or a broken loop. As you can see in the diagram, there are all these broken loops. And it creates an open-ended thing. And just like being alone in the room with no stimuli, this open-ended thing, it's like you're trained and programmed to not be comfortable with that, to not be able to stand it. And so you wait. In the case of a TV series, you know you're going to get back the stimuli that you missed. So you wait until the commercial ends. And in between, there's a hit of cortisol and adrenaline from the cliffhanger, from the curiosity and suspense created by it. And then the loop is closed, your curiosity is satisfied when you know what happens next. When the commercial break ends and you see the next section of the TV series, and the loop is closed and you're rewarded with dopamine, the pleasure hormone. And the real stories of our lives are often a series of open and closed loops. The open loops are created by tension and struggle, and when you're supported with either community or mentorship or friendship, or even money from your job, from clients, the loops are closed, and this is a closed loop. And this is basically the meta structure of story. But in the real stories of our lives, where are the broken loops created from? And this next diagram shows you that. Let me show you the next diagram. This next diagram shows that a broken loop is created by an escalating external problem, which creates pressure struggling in defiance of your inner struggle, which comes from a deep, long-held desire and a fear or misbelief. And the loop is closed through support and mentorship, which creates a spark of realization, which helps you overcome the misbelief or fear. How is this related to the mastery curve? Well, let me show you again. And this is the mastery curve. And I won't go into the three forms of avoidance, the dabbler, the obsessive, the hacker, because it's kind of self-explanatory. This is how we avoid ourselves. This is how we avoid the boredom of the plateau, which is most of life, the boredom of the journey, of the process, you know. And we're so avoidant that we would rather receive an electric shock, which is why we never end up getting on this mastery curve. We have these forms of avoidance. The mastery curve is long plateaus followed by a peak, then a slight getting back down, and another long plateau, and then we reach another peak that's higher than the previous peak. We get back down a little, and we have this long plateau. So there is a saying that says the original meaning for the word passion is, what is the thing that we're willing to suffer for? My take on it is, what is that passion is the thing that we're willing to stay on the plateau for and suffer through it. Similar to how, for example, people who love spicy food, they're willing to suffer through the tears and the runny nose and the hot, burning feeling in the tongue. I can't stand that, but it's pleasure for them. Likewise, when you're in the plateau, you also have to face the chaos and the negative voices of judgment of your own mind. And this is why we're not willing to stay on it. And we never find what we're willing to suffer for because we're not willing to stay long enough on the plateau to find out that ultimately we actually do enjoy the process, the journey. But once we do find it, at some point we will eventually discover our zone of genius. And this is important because let me show you another diagram. You see, I won't get into, because purpose has many different levels. I won't get into too much of this. Just suffices to say that there are many different levels of your purpose, and your passion serves your zone of genius, and your zone of genius and your flow zone and your core gifts and your superpower serve the smaller projects inside bigger projects that you're here to do. They're the tools that help you fulfill the projects that you were born, the meaningful projects that you were born to create, which all together form your purpose here. And your projects serve your core values and your heart virtue and your heart brand, which are the values that you were born to serve. So, and your passions serve them. And so if you don't build the skill to stay on the plateau, on that mastery curve, you will never live your purpose. And so this is the model that I use to help clients discover their purpose. And yes, clearly, as you can see, purpose is so much bigger than passion, but passion is an important part of it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.